Hello everyone, welcome to a new video. If you ever hear any little rustling noises, it is my cat Sylvie, who is upset that I'm in her sunny spot. Okay, so sorry about that. I have about 20 minutes until my husband gets home, so I'm just trying to film this part. So I want to figure out the timeline in Scrivener of my story. I've got big pictures in my head and I've sort of written them down before, but not quite in detail. Just a few words, and most of it lives in my head. I am realizing I'm going through all my other programs and I don't see notes about the things I know are in the story. So that's a problem. I am going to go in Scrivener, use the corkboard view, and just sort of separate it by season and acts. Act 1, Act 2A, Act 2B, Act 3. I am doing seasons because my story takes place in a year. It begins in autumn and ends in autumn. So that's how I'm kind of helping my brain visualize certain scenes and events based on the weather and what sort of cultural holidays and events are happening. That's kind of a big part of the timeline is, okay, I need it to happen before the summer festival, or I need it to be around the time of spring because of the pilgrimage, which you don't need to know anything about, but stuff like that. I'm gonna try to figure it out as best as I can tonight. I haven't really had time to do it today. I've been trying to do my responsibilities. So I'm gonna try to tackle it. I will try to film when I can and we'll work through that. I'm gonna download OBS actually so I can kind of screen record and do like a time lapse. Oh, I'm gonna show you Sylvie before I log off. If you hear any jingling of bells or riffraff in the background, it's my kitten. I had to bring her toys in here like she was a toddler. It's now the 8th. I spent yesterday, started on the timeline, and then I decided I would read my Save the Cat Writes a Novel book finally. I've only ever used the beats like online, but I was like, I should just read the book right now. It got me into thinking, oh no, my characters' wants, needs, their lie they tell themselves is not being shown in the plot. I don't think I had it down. I think I put something and just didn't really run with it, and I really needed to figure that out. So I spent a while being like, okay, is her lie right? Does that sound right? Is that actually interesting for people, or is this silly? Like, it's so simple of a problem. Is this even something to write a story about? I know it is, but how do I make it sound more like a story worth reading? So I spent time doing that, and then I worked a little on the timeline before I started being like, oh, maybe I should just write about this right now. I spent forever up until bedtime writing a scene. I don't know how many words, I'll have to check, but that's really cool. I really like it, but I didn't have to. I just got into it. I got into the flow, and I guess, you know, I shouldn't argue with getting into the flow of writing. Just run with it. But I know I need to settle in this timeline. So I've given myself some deadlines in my planner. Sylvie, that is a rock. By the end of day on Monday, the 12th, I need to have my timeline set in stone. Yes, I can add different things, but I shouldn't have gaps. I should figure out the main points that I need to get to, and then if I have ideas for the in-between, put it in there as well. But mostly, I need to have it. Sylvie, please. But mostly I need to have it down. And then by August 19th, also a Monday, I decided I need to have all my organization done with. All the Scrivener bits in Scrivener. Everything from my other softwares that I need to look at and reference in Scrivener. Just so when I'm writing draft 1, after draft 0 is done, I have everything right where I need it, and I don't have to go looking around different things. And I also want to figure out major hints about the antagonist. I want to figure out what they are and where I can sprinkle them in, even though I know I'm gonna change it up probably and refine it whenever more drafts and like revisions happen, but I want it to be an O, not a what? I want readers to have that moment of, that makes a lot of sense, not where is this coming from? So that's something I want to figure out, although I'm not putting too much pressure on that last part, because I know people who write mysteries and stuff, they figure out the red herrings later, once they figure out how the crime was actually done and all that jazz. So I think I'm not gonna put too much pressure on that one. So by the 19th, I should just be able to hop back in and just keep writing, because by the end of August, I don't know if this is possible, but we're gonna have high goals, and if they're reached, that's cool. But by the end of August, I want to be 2/3 of the way done with draft 0, so that by the end of September, I can be completely done with my draft 0, which would be awesome. I can then be like, I have it written, I have it done. Sure, it needs a lot of fixing and editing and someone else to read it, but I would have the story written. Even if it's not complete, it is as complete as it can be at that point. So I am sharing my screen. I'm hopefully blurring the middle part with all my cards because it has spoilers. Real quick, before I get started on the cards, I'll show you how my Scrivener is set up right now. So up here we've got draft 1. I have my prologue as a page, and then each act as a folder, and then within these folders I have the chapters that are also folders in case I want to do scenes as the pages. I'm still not sure. I think I'm going to be organizing my scenes separately, which I'll show you in a second, but not sure. So I've just started with 3 chapters, and I'm not doing this until I finished my draft 0. Other than that, we have our notes section, which has all of basically this is the research folder, and I changed it to notes because I don't really have to do a lot of research for this. So we've got my brain dump page, just anything I need to write down, random ideas, just that don't fit anywhere else maybe. And then I have my needs improvement page. This is my scene cards page, folder. And I haven't done anything here yet, so I'm not blurring it. I've just got 9 created. I don't know why. This is the prologue, so I guess there's no real spoiler about that. But I have a folder for scenes adrift. It's just scenes that don't have a place. I'm not sure yet if I'll do every scene or the major scenes. I'm not sure. And then we've got my characters folder. I can show you this one as well because there's nothing really spoilery, except you can kind of see what I envision for our characters. So we've got a template here that I've created. It just is showing you the preview, so it looks a little squished for each major character, because I think any minor character, I'm just gonna give a few facts of what they look like, what their role is, and leave it at that. But for these guys, I'm giving a lot of background for each of these guys. I'm putting, I'll just click in the template actually. I'm used to double clicking and it's not working. So I left myself notes here about how the emojis by the name changes based on the character, what their vibes are. And then I changed the race emoji based on if they're a human or a fairy or an elf. This is just an elf one. I created a little table with the main attributes that I needed to list out for each character just at the top. And I kind of listed out all their physical description things I want to know, and that's just really for the main characters. You don't need to know all these details about the minor characters. This is just for my own brain to help me write and to come up with cute things for them to realize about each other throughout the story. A lot of this, Nissa and Malachi don't realize about each other until they've been around one another for quite a while and like the crush starts developing. Added a character questionnaire section. These are some just very important questions. I forget where I got them from. Probably a video of someone else on authortube, so I don't take credit for them, but it's very helpful. At least it helped me kind of figure out these 3 things when I asked myself these 5 questions. I could like copy and paste this into a Google Doc if anyone wants it. And then I've got the timeline we'll be working on today that I'm blurring out right now as we speak. Cool. And then I've got a world building page. This has the language key. I came up with the names of the languages, and then inside of it there are some words that I made up. And then I've got my big questions folder. I got these questions from a video. I'm pretty sure I got them from Lynn. Okay, yeah, just checked. I got them from Lynn because I linked her YouTube video to this page, which is a super cool function of Scrivener, that you can have it out on the side. So if I just needed to watch the video to get better ideas. She has a lot of world building videos that are really great if you need to work on that. That's where I got all these questions. I'm not sure which video exactly. It was a while ago that I wrote them down, but they're there to help me whenever I need an idea or I need to settle on something so I can write my scene better. And then I've got my locations folder. I've got a map that isn't complete, and I'm showing you this because it's not complete, and it's okay that you're seeing it, especially because it's so far away. I've got each country with their own folder, and then inside their folder I've got pages of the different locations that we'll be visiting in the story. Once again, it's probably too much. It's just for my use. So I know. And then I've got a creature glossary, but I have nothing there yet. It's just where I'm going to put any creature that I come up with, so I have all the facts. And then we've got a significant events page, and I'm not going to click it because it has stuff in there, but I just make pages for each significant event and just detailing what important thing happens there, what characters are in that event, you know, stuff like that. And that's also just to help me keep track of things. So that's my Scrivener setup. It's through 34, so I spent about 30 minutes trying to set this up and explain it to you. That is so embarrassing. All right, I'm going to do this now. I'm going to set a timer for 25 minutes so that it'll be done around 4. Okay, so the 25-minute timer just went off, but I've still got ideas. I'll just tell you what I figured out, and then I'll go do some chores and come back and keep writing because I'm just discovering some important stuff. So, it was blurred, but you can see that there's colors on each cell. I'm coloring them based on the act, which is very helpful, I recommend, because I need to know how much is going on in each act, that there are main events going on in each act, and try to balance them. I don't know if you saw, I was reading some more of Saves the Cat Writes a Novel because I was trying to figure out exactly where my beats were in the timeline, and I was like surprisingly impressed with myself that like I already had them sort of split up the way they needed to be, but I made sure to note it in here for myself for later, and I might make it even bigger. I might like flag them or something, like change the label, but regardless, I am figuring out, this actually should end Act 1, and Act 1 is actually just like 20% of the book. Like it's up until she decides to take the journey, to make that change, whatever. Like I didn't realize that. I thought Act 1 continued, but that is not what happened. So I'm actually in Act 2 right now. I'm in Act 2A, which is awesome. And I am figuring out where Act 2B should actually end based on these beats, based on what I've got planned. And I still need to figure out some things to go in between because I want it to be interesting. I don't want it to be basic filler. I want it to be important to the story, and I want readers to need a lot of that information. So I'll work on that, but I'm gonna go do some chores, come back and do some more, and I'll update you after. Hey everyone, I realized I didn't actually give an update at the end of that day. It's August 13th. I finished my timeline. Woohoo! Except, like, I don't know the exact ending. I imagine that as I'm writing the book and as draft 0 comes together officially, I will get more real ideas about that and really settle. But for right now, I'm just gonna do a quick scroll through. It is blurred, but you'll see still I've got the colors. I've got green for Act 1, I've got yellow for Act 2A, which looks like not a lot, but also in Save the Cat Writes a Novel, Act 2 is one thing. I've split it into 2, so I'm giving myself leeway there. Orange is Act 2B, which is significantly bigger just because there are some things in here that aren't necessarily events, they're just like, they're road signs that I put for myself about certain little things. In Act 3, the red, whew, look at all that. It is a lot, but like, once again, I think it's a lot of like road signs and little things that I'm trying to remind myself that I need to put in Act 3 because it's the big end, you know? A lot goes down, a lot is revealed, a lot is figured out. So that is 40 cards, and I mean, I might even add more eventually. We'll see. What I did, you can't see on this, but I changed their labels to the checkbox. Either if I've already gotten that far in draft 0, I changed it to the one that has a check in it, and I leave it open if I haven't gotten there, which is most of this. And then I made one of them, this one right here, you can't even see my cursor, I realized. It's the last green card. I put a red flag as the label because I realized there was a plot hole there and I needed to revise it. So that's my timeline. So you might have realized that I added a draft 0 folder even though I told myself I was gonna keep it away from Scrivener because I started in another program. I think what I'm gonna do, just so I can keep track of my progress and keep it all in one place, right now I'm just gonna continue where I left off in Scrivener. And then eventually I'll end up adding all the things I wrote from the other program into here, and I don't want to spend time doing that right now. Okay, so I will see you guys in the next video, whatever that is. Bye.